Interior, Saks, G-Man's Bay. G-Man leans over the open hood of a car. Rattling and clanking noises come from inside as he moves things around. Greg sits on a stool between G-Man and the toolbox behind him. He scrolls on his phone, occasionally handing tools to G-Man.
And did you see the size of her arms? I bet she could bench you easy.
The whole thing seems fishy if you ask me.
Stone. Now that's my kind of woman.
Have you heard of Dacia? Where the heck have I heard that name before?
You think she'd be interested in one of those 90-day deals?
Greg jumps to his feet, staring at the phone.
What the fuck?
Come on, I was just messing around. You know I'm not into that reality TV shit.
Greg yanks G-Man up from the car. G-Man hits his head on the hood. Greg shoves the phone in his face.
Not that. This. I knew it sounded familiar.
You can read this shit?
He hands back Greg's phone, rubbing his head. The website on it is in Romanian.
Fuck no. But I can read that.
He zooms in on the Dacia website header. It reads, Renault Group.
And?
He reaches around Greg to grab his trusty hammer off of the toolbox. Greg snatches the hammer away.
And Renault is one of those uber-expensive fancy European brands. They have cars in Formula 1 and everything.
G-Man holds out his hand for the hammer, otherwise unimpressed. Greg gives up the hammer.
Like international NASCAR without all the rednecks.
Do the Brits race in it?
Yeah, Red Bull.
G-Man snorts, taps the hammer lightly to his head and points to Greg.
There's your rednecks.
He turns back to the car with a shrug, starts hammering on something. The sound of power tools gets louder from Kevin's Bay, growing until Greg and G-Man have to shout to hear each other.
What I'm saying is, what the hell would a company like Renault want with this shithole? Why not go to Pep Boys? At least they've got AC and working door, for Christ's sake.
G-Man finally gives Greg his full attention.
Fuck if I know. It's probably some publicity, support the little guy, small sack bullshit.
I don't know. You think Sean checked her credentials? Seems like a scam to me.
You really think the boss man's got money worth scamming? Look at this place.
G-Man gestures around the shop with the hammer. Broken, filthy things abound.
Fair. And a cheap no-name deal with Saks would probably be lower risk for a test garage in the States than a well-known brand. They could avoid the PR until they're sure it works.
You're really into this shit, aren't you?
Greg shrugs.
I used to watch it with my dad every weekend.
Learn something new every day. So what you're saying is there's a chance this deal is legit?
A chance.
And that if it goes through, we'll be rich.
Sean will get rich. Us? Hard to say.
G-Man nods in serious contemplation.
Then we just gotta make it easier to say.
What?
Ingratiate ourselves. Be useful, you know? Woo her. That way, when the boss man moves up, we can take over the shop. Or you could make the pit crew for that Formula
1.
Whatever. And I'd have more time to get to know Stone. Show her around town, maybe even go to Britain if it's not too low life for her.
G-Man spins Greg so that they're facing the same direction, away from Kevin's Bay.
Just picture it. We'd be rich. We'd be 10 times as good as those Pep Boy bastards. We gotta make this happen, Mini-Me. We gotta make sure nothing goes wrong while Stone's here.
Terrible screeching and a metallic crash. The car on Kevin's lift behind them slides off and falls sideways onto the ground. Greg and G-Man flinch, glance at each other and turn.
Fucking Kevin.
Well, shit.
G-Man throws his hammer over his shoulder. The pair rush toward Kevin's Bay.